I am up and running. I have my sound engineered and my up on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Just setting up all three. I actually have three different devices. It's not like we do use any fancy software here, but what's going on in the news lately regarding taxes? Why are we talking taxes here in August? Why? I'll tell you why right now. The IRS recently, over the spring and the summer, they went on a hiring spree, the massive hiring spree of hiring IRS auditors. That's almost the very first step. When the IRS hires auditors, it's not to make sure that your taxes are done correctly. The IRS hires auditors in order to make changes on your taxes. It sucks. This is like hearing that the government is going against you, which is the truth. Every single person that gets selected for an audit is usually a small business, somebody self-employed or freelancer. And whenever you get a notice in the mail, the IRS says, hey, we want to review your taxes to make sure that they are done correctly, that your taxes are done accurately. And that's horse manure. That's BS. What they want to do, and their major goal of every single audit, is to add additional taxes, add more penalties, and add some interest, which is completely unfair. So what could you do if your taxes are already done, the damage has been done, and let's say your taxes are not accurate, especially if you're self-employed, you're a small business owner. There's different tactics that you could use with the IRS, but the most important part is to defend yourself, protect yourself against the government. That's so key and important. It's almost as if you're like driving really fast, you get pulled over by a police officer. You never want to be like, oh, dude, say the wrong thing, and then you just want to start lying. So it's best to always stay protected and kind of know what's going on. So the very first step is to know the law, to know the law around taxes. So the point is, like, if you did a tax return, either you did it yourself on TurboTax, didn't know if it's 100% accurate, or you might have gone to a new CPA, or your CPA is not that familiar with stuff. Here's how you actually backtrack by knowing the law. So if you actually search for publication one, those are your rights with taxes and dealing with the IRS. That is basically the fundamental of Semper Tax Relief here at what we do when we represent somebody, because we step foot in the shoes of somebody. So we deal with the IRS on behalf of somebody. So when you search for publication one with the IRS, those are your taxpayer bill of rights. And by the way, I have the whole thing summarized. I'll post a link in the comments where you're able to review and listen to all the rights. It's 10 different rights. And surprising enough, the very first thing is the IRS cannot be rude to you. They can't. They cop a lot of attitude because it's powered by people. I mean, these agents that they hire at the IRS, they get on the phone and they think they're Mr. Tough Guys and try to push you around. They try to be rude. They try to yell at you. They try to say, hey, give me A, B, C, and D. There's a method and manner how they ask for items. So they cannot be rude. You have the right to quality of service. It's part of your fundamental taxpayer rights. They cannot be condescending. They cannot be rude. So they could ask for items, A, B, and C. Like if you're going through an audit, they could ask for, hey, show me what you originally filed return. Give me your bank statements. You're self-employed, and show me proof of your travel expenses, your meals and entertainment, proof of your meals deduction. But they cannot be rude about it. And if they're rude, you tell them, you could put them on check. You say, hey, man, you're raising your voice. This is a conversation. Let's keep this a conversational tone. Don't be rude. You're being rude in the manner you're talking to me. You're being condescending. You're copying bad attitude. You're violating my right to quality of service. The moment you mention that, they put on the brakes, they pump the brakes, and they say, whoa, you know what you're talking about. I cannot be rude to you, because you could put a formal complaint against that when they're being rude. So when I take on a client that does get an audit notice, one of the first things I ask as part of my interview process, if they've been dealing with the auditor, has that auditor been rude? And they say, yeah, you know what, he was really rude. He kind of yelled at me because I didn't call him back or something like that. So as far as communication is concerned, if you don't call him back, you could keep the whole conversation with the IRS in writing. Hey, IRS, send it to me by mail. Here's my fax number. Send it to me by fax. I'm not being rude, but I'd rather not talk to you. I'd rather not discuss this. So let's go ahead and just have this conversation in writing instead. Boom, just like that. So they cannot get mad. They cannot say, well, why this, why that? Put them on check. Be like, hey, my right to quality of service. Let's keep this professional. Let's keep this professional. We want to make sure that we keep this conversational tone. And if they push the envelope, you have the complaint right. All right. The second thing is that you have the right to appeal any decision. So regarding any audits, it is very common to appeal decisions. The audits are ran by people. The auditors are people. So there are times you're sending stuff in, it could be overlooked. If it's overlooked, if you submitted proof of stuff, they're going to start disallowing items. If you're self-employed, you're a freelancer, you put all your business mileage, you put your meals and entertainment, your travel expenses, fees, commissions, whatever you do pay, and all of a sudden you get a report, you have the right to pay the right amount of tax. You also have the right to appeal the decision. Well, once again, it goes back to the 10 fundamental rights you do have. So based on those two things, you could review the finalized report from an auditor and say, hey, you never reviewed the items that I did provide to you. I provided to you my general ledger as far as my travel expenses are, my bank statements. Did you even look at them? Or you have to get an answer from them. And if it give you the wrong answer, then what you could do is also appeal that decision. A lot of the times, it's probably around 65% of the time when we handle somebody's audit, we are appealing an IRS decision. Appealing that decision means that we disagree with the employee of the IRS and we want to take it to the Office of Appeals. When we submit a packet, then the Office of Appeals reviews the entire case file. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times where the Office of Appeals cannot take jurisdiction. You are going to have to file this whole thing with the tax court, which we do often enough with the IRS. Why? Because these people are making mistakes on top of making mistakes. The IRS is so overwhelmed that they are so late to respond back. When they give you these automated notices, they don't even have a chance to review anything you did submit, so they rather just finalize the changes. So that's why the Office of Appeals exists, for us to say, you know what, IRS, I disagree with you. I'm going to submit a whole packet for the reasons I disagree. So we submit the whole packet whenever we disagree with the IRS. So that's the second thing, how we protect ourselves. Now, if you're self-employed, if you're a freelancer, if you're a small business owner and you get an examination, you always have the right to remain silent. It's not only for a criminal aspect. The right to remain silent means that you invoke the Fifth Amendment. You have the right to not incriminate yourself. Now, all these aspects, this is just law. This is just one of your fundamental rights as a U.S. citizen and as a taxpayer. You don't have to say anything, and that's very important. Whenever you're dealing with a federal official, a federal government official, the moment you say a lie, now it's no longer an administrative procedure. The audit is completely administrative, but the moment you lie, then it could potentially turn criminal. So you never want to get caught in a lie. Best thing to do is just shut up, keep your mouth shut, don't say anything at all. Let them do whatever they want to do. Reply back only with something that's factual, something that you could prove. And if you can't prove it, best to just shut up, keep your mouth shut. And lastly, I definitely want to point it out that it's your right to be represented. It is your right to have the right professional represent you. The IRS has a form called the Form 2848. Form 2848 is the power of attorney, which means that any enrolled agent, an attorney licensed by any state or a CPA by any state could sit there and represent you regarding unlimited matters with the IRS. So that's how we do. Our clients sign a Form 2848, and we do all the communication, all the talking on behalf of somebody. So this includes, audits, collections, offers and compromise, hardship payment plans, not collectible. We fight everything. We're the ones that do all the calls to the IRS. We're the ones that do the forms. Now, some of the forms require your original signature. Like if you have 10 years of non-filed returns, you have to sign and date those returns. We file them for you based on transcripts. Or if we also do an offer and compromise, a tax settlement, the forms we draft, we negotiate, we engineer it, but it requires your original signature on those forms. But aside from that, the rest of the calling, we do it on behalf of clients. And we always know what to say, how to say it. And there are times we have to keep our own mouth shut to make sure we don't say the wrong thing to the IRS, or we don't, turn this into a criminal matter, because we definitely want to keep things on administrative level as a civil matter, which most audits and collections are with the IRS. Now, most clients say, well, old school, these attorneys charge hefty fees to represent us. A lot of the times, what sucks is that the IRS, they're not going after the rich. It sucks. It's the truth. The rich, they fight back. They get, high-powered lawyers to fight back, and they end up screwing the IRS more than the IRS expects back. So they end up screwing people that generally make under $250,000, under $200,000, and that's the majority of small businesses and the self-employed and freelancers here. So they're the ones that get hit hard. So there are times, the majority of our clients are not rich. The majority of our clients are just hardworking, self-employed freelancers, or people that are homeowners, people that have rental real estate property that say, you know what, I'd rather just have the right professional help me out. That way you get the better results versus trying to deal with this stuff on your own. But if you are, the first step is to review your rights. And we always offer a free case review. You could either, I'll post a link in the comment below, or just go to sempertax.com, fill out the free case review. When you fill it out, you're able to book your own appointment online. You get to choose the day and the time, and then one of my onboarding staff members will get on the phone, and we can review your entire case and have a free strategy session to see where it is that you may qualify for. So the type of help that we offer is if you have a tax debt with IRS, you're in collections, if you have an auditor assigned to your case, if you have an assigned collector, which is known as a revenue officer, those are really tough cases too. We are able to help you out. So it always begins with a free case review. Once you are set up, we also shoot you an email where you are able to provide us any type of written, any type of documents, any notices, letters from the IRS, including any type of certified mail that you got. And also recently too, there's been a rise of bank levies, which means that the IRS freezes your bank account. We've had over this past week several different calls from people that have gotten their accounts frozen. So the IRS is definitely ramping up operations like they haven't in the last 2 years. But that's it. That's my spiel for today. If you guys have any tax problems, once again, we offer that free case review. We're able to at least have a strategy session to see what's the best possible program that you may qualify for, and we can go ahead and represent you. Anyway, thanks for watching.